My name is Moti Farbstein. I'm from Can-Fite BioPharma. I'm the CEO. My first time in this conference. Great one. Waiting for next year. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Can-Fite. There's a lot. I'm not going to get into all the science, but just let you know the main development that we are doing. So, Can-Fite. We have safe drugs for the treatment of oncological and inflammatory diseases. We are in advanced clinical stage, working with the FDA and the EMA. The business model is to license out. And as of today, we have successful out-licensing deals with few territories. We are dually traded in Tel Aviv and the New York Stock Exchange American. We had 9 million cash at our last financials, and the money that we have and the money that we should get short-term from our partners should support the company for the next 16 months from now. I am with the company before they were a company, and it started at the university. I met the current chairman of the company. She is the scientific founder of the company. We were both at the same faculty. She was doing the PhD on very intriguing question. And the question was why there is no penetration of cancer metastases to the muscle tissue. And think about it for a minute. You can find, unfortunately, metastases in any other tissue of the body, brain, blood, bones, everywhere. But somehow the muscle that is about 50% of the body mass have some kind of an immune mechanism that defend it from the penetration of the cancer metastases. A few years at the university, and what she found is that the cancer cells release small molecules that bind to a specific target. It's the A3 adenosine receptor. It's the green spiral that you can find on pathological cells and not on normal cells. And by binding and sending the command to the cell to go over apoptosis, meaning natural death of the cell. So the therapeutic target is the receptor, the A3 adenosine receptor. We have a small molecule, orally bioavailable drugs that bind only to the pathological cells. It can be a cancer or inflammatory cell and not to the normal cell. We have proven therapeutic effect shown in our phase 2 and phase 3 studies. And since the beginning, since we saw the receptor only on the pathological cells and not on the normal cells, and we are treating the patient in microgram, we thought that it's going to be a safe drug if it will be a drug. And today, after we dosed more than 1,600 patients across our clinical studies, we do know that we have very safe drugs. So in the pipeline, we have 2 drugs. The first one is Piclidenoson for psoriasis. Following a very successful phase 3 study, I will show you the data. We used the time to discuss with the agency, FDA and the EMA, the registration plan of the drug, including the design of the pivotal phase 3 study. We are ready to go, and we are going to initiate the pivotal phase 3 study in the second half of this year, probably around the end of the third quarter. So that's the psoriasis. We have Namodenoson. With Namodenoson, we have 3 indications. The most advanced one is advanced liver cancer patients. We are enrolling patients to a pivotal phase 3 study that was agreed by the FDA and the EMA. We are running the study in the US, Europe, and Israel. We are going to have an interim analysis after around 50% of the study, and hopefully with a positive data. And since we are treating patients who have no other alternative today in this market, we might get immediately conditional approval. So that's the liver cancer. Based on the data of the liver cancer, we started to look at the pancreatic cancer as well. It's also a disease that there are no good treatment today. We have good data with preclinical, and we need to see some human data. So we are going to initiate an exploratory phase 2 study shortly. It's going to be a small one, 20 patients, open study, just to get some idea how the namodenoson is working with pancreatic patients. And the last indication is MASH. It's a little bit confusing because they keep changing the name of the fatty liver disease. It used to be called NASH. They changed it to ALS. And with Madrigal now, a new drug, the new name now is MASH. So with MASH, following a successful phase 2A study, we are now enrolling patients to a phase 2B study. I will educate you later about it. It's a longer study, and with good data, we think that we will be able also to license it out globally. The last drug that we have is CF602 for erectile dysfunction, and you can ask me, there's very well established relationship between inflammatory and cancer. But why are we a player in the erectile dysfunction field? So we never dreamt about it, but it happened to be that in one of the early Piclidenoson studies, male patient that had erectile dysfunction and never returned any tablet to the clinic. And the physician started to ask questions and came to us claiming that they started to perform again. Due to business consideration, we took another molecule based on the same platform technology and done few animal models and other models. And we know today that it's effective both as a systemic and topical agent. We are not using our resources now to develop it. As a small company, we are developing now Piclidenoson and namodenoson, but we are talking to potential partners and we want to partner it with a company. I'll talk a little bit more about it later. So that's the pipelines. As I told you, the business model is to license out. As of today, we have 6 territorial partners in Eastern Europe, 3 countries in Europe, China and the territories, 2 deals in South Korea, and a Canadian company that took psoriasis at Piclidenoson for psoriasis. From these deals, we got $20 million as of today as upfront and development milestone. There are $130 more that we should get potential based on regulatory success and sales milestone, and by the end, there will be double digits from the royalties. We also have another company by the name of Vetbiolix. It's a French company that took the rights to develop Piclidenoson for pet osteoarthritis, actually for dogs. I don't know if you know, but the large breed of the dogs suffer from arthritis of the knees, and it's a big market. They are doing the development on their own expenses, and hopefully we and the investors will be able to enjoy the data, and the data should come from the animal model during the, I think, close to the year end. By the way, it's not that we are not trying to get other deals. We are trying to do the big deal to out-license it globally. And if you noticed, we saved the US and the majority of Eastern Europe for the big deal, but we want to do it in good terms after getting the data of the phase 3 studies. In addition, we are talking to some more companies, and we might do 1 or 2 territorial deals that will infuse the company more undiluted money that we will not be able to go to tap the market again. So, Piclidenoson for psoriasis, the rationale is that we have overexpression of the receptor, robust anti-inflammatory effect. We're inhibiting 2 very important IL-17 and IL-23 production, and we saw a significant anti-psoriatic effect in our animal models and human data. You can see here the mechanism of action. We are targeting 2 very important pathways, the NF-kappa B and the Wnt that playing a big role in inflammatory diseases and oncological diseases. And by the way, as we started from the university, we are a very academic-oriented company. So if each one of you or your investor want to know more about the company, we have more than 70 papers that was published on peer-reviewed journals that you can find on our website. That's the data of Comfort 1. Comfort 1 is the name of the first phase 3 that we have completed. You can see the difference between the treated patients and the placebo. It's significant. That's the primary endpoint. The secondary endpoint We also compare it to Tesla. It's the Amgen drug, and we have much better safety. And as of today, we have the design of the COMFORT-2, the pivotal phase 3 study, and we are going to initiate it around the end of the Q3. Namodenoson. The rationale of development is for liver cancer. It started with the overexpression of the receptor on the liver. We screened few solid tumors, and the liver and the pancreatis are the one that express the target that we are targeting more than others. The drug is not metabolized in the liver, so we can treat the liver. And again, you have the mechanism of action. And in phase 2 study that we've completed a few years ago, we found that it's safe, and we found evidence of anti-tumor activity. And I can show you an example of a patient. And just to remind you, we are treating patients who are, I don't want to use the word terminal patients, but where there are no other treatment that there is on the market that the physician can get them. And this is a patient that was entered to the study in 2016, and it's hard to see, but that's the cancer. In 17, it was reduced to by 80%, and in 21, it's disappeared completely. So this patient is taking, it's a mistake, the drug more than 7 years, twice a day. She has a complete response, disappearance of ascites, return of normal liver function, and basically she is a healthy individual again. We are treating advanced liver cancer patients. So the study that we are going to, we are enrolling patients to, we are looking at the survival, but hopefully there will be more patients like this patient that survive completely from advanced liver cancer. So Liberation is the name of the pivotal phase 3 study that we are running. We have the FDA and the EMA agreement. There will be an internal analysis around 50%, after around 50% of the patients. And hopefully with good data, we will get immediately a conditional approval from the agencies. We are treating patients as a second or third line, patients who do not have any other alternative. We're looking at overall survival. We have an orphan drug status that was granted from the FDA and the EMA, and fast track status from the FDA. In addition, we have 2 compassionate use programs, one in Israel, one in Romania, to support the patient that I talked about. And as a company, we are getting almost every week a request to get the drug to the patients, but we are trying to encourage them to go and join the clinical studies that we are running now. Next one is the pancreatic cancer. So with the data of the liver cancer, we realized that we can treat oncological patients. We took namodenoson to a few of preclinical studies, and we learned that namodenoson induced 90% of the inhibition of pancreatic cancer cells. We know the molecular mechanism. Beside the Wnt, there is another very important, the RAS signaling pathway that we are inhibiting. And in vivo studies, we show robust inhibition of the tumor of the animals. But I'm sure that you know there is no scientist that didn't cure rats or mice from cancer, and we need to show it in humans. So in order to know whether it's have the same effect as in liver cancer, we are about to initiate shortly, I mean, I think within 2 to 3 weeks, I think, an open label study. It's an exploratory phase 2 study. The patient will get the same dose. We will look at safety as a primary endpoint, but we, of course, as a secondary, we will look about the objective response and all the other parameters that you are looking at the tumor itself. It's going to be a small one, 20 patients. We have an IND with the FDA. We will start in Israel, and we might open another site in the US later. And the last indication with the namodenoson, it's MASH, metabolic-associated steatohepatitis. It's a fatty liver. It's until recently, there was no drugs for this syndrome until Madrigal launched the drug, I think, a month ago. You can see here the stages of liver damage. It's not due to what we are doing here in Las Vegas, drinking ourselves to, but the liver is behaving the same. MASH it's a back-on metabolic disease, and I think the US is the leader of the world in MASH patients. Around between 15 to 25% of the patients will get into a stage of fatty or fibrosis liver. It started from healthy liver to fatty fibrosis, cirrhosis in cancer. The treatments are for patients in the fatty and the fibrosis. When the patient is got into cirrhosis, as I know today, there is no treatment. By the way, you don't need Can-Fite drug. If you are in the fatty or fibrosis stage, all you have to do is change your diet, physical activity, and the liver will take care of itself. But, you know, the patients are waiting for the magic pill, and we and other companies are trying to bring it to the patients. So the rationale was that inducing anti-inflammatory effect, anti-fibrotic effect, we decreased the ALT and the AST in the liver cancer study, and we know from the liver cancer study that the namodenoson protect the liver against ischemia and other stages. We finalized the phase 2A study around a year ago, a little bit more, and we showed that the namodenoson reduced the liver fat content. It was anti-inflammatory. We showed the anti-inflammatory effect. We selected the dose. We decreased the body weight of the patients, and we had an excellent safety. We just opened an IND with the FDA, and we are enrolling now patients to a phase 2B study. It's multi-center, randomized, currently Europe and Israel, and we will open a site in the US. We are randomized the patient 2-to-1, following the patient until week 36. And the primary efficacy is looking at the liver, taking biopsies from the patients before and after. That is the request of the FDA. I hope they will drop it, because it's not easy to tell a patient that he needs to go over biopsy twice in order to be on the study, but we are enrolling patients. And the data should be somewhere by the end of by mid next year. Erectile dysfunction. So I told you the story, but actually we got an anecdotal report from patients and physicians that patients have some effect on their sex life taking our drugs. Actually, both men and women. But we thought at the beginning that, you know, when you are clearing a patient's skin from psoriasis, it might affect him in other aspects of his life or relieving other pains. But then we done a study in Eastern Europe, and I told you that few of the patients never return any tablet to the clinic. And as the physician needs to compute the compliance to the drug, they started to ask questions and came to us that there were male patients that suffered from erectile dysfunction and started to perform again and save the tablet for personal use. So what we've done, we took another molecule, the CF602. It's a little bit different. It's binding to the same receptor, but it's an allosteric modulator. Allosteric modulator, meaning that it's changing the receptor that it will be, that the natural adenosine around him will bind to it. That's the difference between the CF602 and the other drugs. We've done few animal models. By the way, we look at the Viagra and Cialis papers and look at their model, and we done the same. And we showed and we published that we had a significant full recovery from erectile dysfunction as a topical or a systemic drug. Dose-dependent, linear, and the response with the rats was after single dose of CF602. We published the mechanism of action, and you can ask me why the market there is a need in the market for a new drug other than Viagra and Cialis and others. So we think that due to the safety of our drugs, CF602 can go to a new market of patients that cannot use the Viagras of today, patients with cardiovascular problems, some of the diabetic patients. It should be safer. We are looking now and talking to potential partners in order to do a deal that another company will develop it. And actually, I've got to the end of my presentation. So the closing highlights of Can-Fite. We have all drugs proven safety and efficacy in pivotal phase 3 studies. We're monetizing the advanced portfolio through the corporate partnerships. We have novel therapeutic approach, which is, on one hand, we are very proud to develop something from the university, from a basic idea, and to take it as of today to pivotal phase 3 studies, but it's hard. It's not a me too drug. We have a very nice intellectual property portfolio, consists of 15 families, and financially well positioned. We have enough money for the next 16 months, and hopefully there will be some undiluted money from new deals that will support us. Thank you very much. And if there are questions, I'll be very happy to answer. Around 90% is public. And it's inside owners and one fund. $9 million in cash and short-term milestone that we should get from the current partners. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I can talk maybe later how we are doing it, but I think I don't have enough time to go over it now. Yeah.
So you have a slide there. Talk about the deals you have with distribution partners.
Yeah.
And you intentionally not on anything U.S. market. My assumption is that U.S. market would be greater size of the U.S. What is the deal? Can you elaborate and assume that's an intentional strategy, and what the relative size of the U.S. potential would be versus those markets you're trying?
It's going to be a biggest deal, not only because of the size of the market, but also because of the stage of the development. You want to do it following the phase 3 data. It's hundreds of millions. I don't know exactly now what to tell you. It depends on the, on the negotiation and the effect of the drug that will be proven in the phase 3 studies.
Why have you not decided in the U.S.? I assume you've had education business, but you've intentionally left the U.S.
Because we want to do, we don't see ourselves, we will never sell the drugs. We want to do an out-licensing deal. We want to do it following a positive phase 3 data, and then to get it to a big pharmaceutical or big biotech company that will take charge of the marketing. There will never be trucks of Can-Fite driving from site to site with the drugs. We think that our strength is taking an idea and building it into human data. It's only the platform technology. We have more drugs, more indication, more dreams to follow once we do the big deal. Thank you very much.